leave a legacy kana wafa kwete kungopfura unge mbava. When I grow up is the common statement that we use. It's always when I grow up this, when I grow up that, when I grow up, when I grow up. We can't wait to grow up because of what we think the world is ready to offer to us. When they said Kura Uone Mwanangu, it wasn't a joke. There is no one that is coming to save us. Where you are coming from should not be a limitation of where you want to go. Andina Wangu Guti is a man that made certain choices. The choices, we are still benefiting from them up to the very present day. We are not victims, rather, of circumstances, but we are product of choices. So the choices that we make, they shape us and they mold us into who we become. Make the right choices and you leave the right legacy. On the saga, Kura Uone Mwanangu. Greetings. Today I want to express and share views on a very, very dynamic topic, which I believe we have often been cautioned about it, but we didn't take much heed or much attention to it because we thought it was all a joke. So what I want to talk about is the issue to do with growth, particularly on the saga Kura Uone Mwanangu. Oftentimes when we are growing up, we have this romanticized picture that we have in our head that when I grow up is the common statement that we use. It's always when I grow up this, when I grow up that, when I grow up, when I grow up. As a child, we can't wait to grow up because of the expectations that we have of the future. We can't wait to grow up because of what we think the world is ready to offer to us. So when we are growing up, the thing that we have at the back of our heads is when I grow up. So I'm going to break it down into 3 different pieces, which first one, we are going to unmask what growth really is about. And then we are going to talk about exposure. Then lastly, I think we are going to talk about decision making and consequences, because what I've seen over the time is growth has to happen particularly in line with the decisions that we make in our daily lives. So to start off, I wish I could tell you that it's true. When you grow up, you are going to become what you have dreamed to become. But what if not? It's always that case, because things change as we grow up. We become exposed to different set of ideas. We become exposed to different kinds of opinions, which also shape the people that we become or the decisions that we then make in the long run. So we never know that we have grown up unless and until we are exposed. Exposure is the true revealant of what growth means. So there is a common example that I often want to draw inspiration from. If you look at someone who is growing in a setup whereby they were forced to be breadwinners at a younger age, those people, they have matured way above their age because of exposure. They have seen a lot. Not because they have grown in age, no, but because they have been exposed to pretty much everything. So they become mature at a younger age, as compared to someone maybe who is having things well up. So the exposing part, it really brings the true self of who we are or what we have become. It really shows us where we stand in terms of what growth is. Because when they said Kura Uone Mwanangu, it wasn't a joke, but it was simply a statement to assure us that whatever that comes ahead, we cannot explicitly tell you that it's going to be easy, or we cannot put it in words to you that this is how it's going to be like. But you just have to grow up and you'll find out what life has to offer for you. So, not to scare you by the Kura Uone Mwanangu, there is something that is rather important that we can implement, that I have seen that growing up, it depends solely on the choices that we are going to make. In as much as the Kura Uone saga may scare us, that what we will become, or what choices, how are we going to shape our lives, what is mostly important is to understand that we have got choices to make, we've got decisions to make. I like one author that writes in one of his pieces that, you know what, we are not a product, we are not victims rather of circumstances, but we are product of choices. So the choices that we make, they shape us and they mold us into who we become. Like similarly, we make choices, and then those choices makes us. So we must be aware of the choices that we make. Oftentimes I've seen personally from my life that I am a reflection of certainly choices that I made at one point or another, or simply the choices that were made on my behalf by another person, which I couldn't make on my own. So growth is a discovery of choices, and it's an intention of making choices that shape and mold the person that we become. We can almost argue that the best that we have seen, or the people that we see at the pinnacle or at the highest level, are the people that made certain choices in the previous or the current life that they are living. And to exemplify this, I had a good example of a man that founded one of the strongest, maybe the biggest Christian belief cultures in Africa. When we talk of Andina Wangu Guti, is a man that made certain choices. The choices, we are still benefiting from them up to the very present day, just because he made the right choices during the time where it mattered most, and those choices, they lived even past him. Now, even if he's late, we are still living in the legacy that we were left. So I'd like to leave someone with this funny statement, as someone would call it, that leave a legacy kana wafa kwete kungopfura unge mbava. Make the right choices and you leave the right legacy. I think that's what we have to say for now in terms of growth. So basically, growing up has been teaching me a lot of things as an individual, and I've been deducing meanings from life as well. And one of the things that I've come to understand is that growth is inevitable. At one point or another, we have to sit down and address it, because there is no way that we are able to continuously run away from it. It's a thing that is going to catch up anyhow to our lives. And for that, we need at least to be ready and to be cautious that these things are going to come and these things are real. Imagine all you have been told your life is that when I grow up, I want to be like this. But then people don't really explain to you or put it across that, you know what, where you want to reach, there are certain things that you will encounter, there are certain things that you're going to come across, but don't quit or don't stop along the way, just face it. So growth, when we look at it, is a sum total of decision making, is a sum total of rising above ourselves. You know, no one can really sit us down and tell us or give us a formula that growth is going to be like this. It's different from one or two people next to each other. Is very different. It's a life story, personal thing that varies to each and every individual. So growth constantly is that thing that needs us to show up. It needs us to rise against all odds. It needs us to continue pushing, because there is no one that is coming to save us. But what we have is ourselves. What we have is the belief within us. What do we want to achieve? Where do we want to go? It is what defines us. Let me tell someone that is probably still young and still believing. That belief is powerful, that if you keep and carry it, it's going to land you where you want to be. Because mostly some of us, we started off, maybe personally I can tell you that I used to say when I grow up, I want to be a pilot. And as I am growing up, I'm realizing I'm deviating from that. I'm now far off from that. Now I'm focusing on business. Imagine. But we started off as pilots, aspirants, pilots. So when we are believing, when we are growing up, we need to learn and understand that there are certain obstacles that's gonna come, but they don't define us. There is a background that we are coming from. It doesn't affect us. I love how Obama puts it across, that where you are coming from should not be a limitation of where you want to go. So most of us will look back of where we are coming from, and then we think it's impossible to reach where we're supposed to reach. So growth has to do much with the mentality that you are going to encompass through the way. Now I am seeing growth with a different eye, because now I've been forced to become a man within, to expose myself. Imagine a setting whereby all the decisions are being made for you. Now all of a sudden you are exposed, you're on your own. Now there's no one to come and save you. That's how growth happens. It's so rapid, it's so instant. I wish I could tell you that you need to prepare, but I cannot tell you that you can prepare for growth. You just find yourself in it, and when you face it, you just have to know, or you have to decide, make a choice of how you want to go over it. That's what differentiates most of us. But all in all being said and done, let's appreciate growing up. Let's embrace the challenges. Let's embrace difficulty. It's part of growth. Those things, we may quote it, we may love it, we may say what we want to say about growing up, but the truth is, one way or the other, we are going to encounter things that are life-threatening, things that are, demeaning, things that are, that stay or locks us from within. But we have to keep on moving. So I wish I could tell people that life is going to be easy. I wish I could tell people that things are just going to flow, just as how you imagine them, or just as how you think in your mind, or how you envision it in your room. But that's not the case. Life is not going to be rosy every day. Life is not going to produce what we are looking for every time. But life, sometimes it brings us the least things that we expect. So we have to develop a strong mindset, a strong mentality. That is what sets us aside as individuals in a chaotic world. Because a lot of times we plan our things, and at that point we have an outcome of how we want things to be. But what if things don't end up that way? What if the things doesn't go according to the plan? What's the new plan? So most of the times we don't have that plan after the plan fails. It's like this plan has to work. So when it doesn't work, what then? Now we find ourselves in a difficult situation, but we have to develop one of the most essential things, which is a strong mentality. When we develop a strong mentality, we become powerful as individuals. We are not limited. We are not stopped with situations, circumstances, challenges, but rather they shape us, they make us into better beings. Let me take you to Zimbabwe. There is a man who is currently a billionaire right now, a man called Shrive Masiyiwa. He's a man that faced a lot of backlash when he wanted to launch the first very ever Econet that is now popular. But what he had was a strong mindset, resilience. He fought a case in the courts for more than 5 years until the dream came to life. So what he didn't do was to quit or to give up. So most of us as youth, we've got a lot of ideas. We've got a lot of plans, which when they fail, it's the end. We never hear again from Simba because the idea didn't get fruitful as he was expecting. The idea didn't come to fruition. So now that's the end. But no, the people that make the biggest changes in the world are people that have got resilience. The people that are sitting in the top offices, if you listen to their stories, they started from somewhere and they are going somewhere. And they will tell you that they have been in trouble a couple of times. Not a couple of times, but half the time, maybe, if not most of the time. And the success rate now is amazing, but it did not come out as amazing. It came out from resilience, possessing a strong mentality towards achieving our goals, towards becoming the people that we want to become. Now, let me also talk about bouncing back. I've mentioned about how plans often fail to unfold. That's true. We need to learn the art of bouncing back. Unfortunately, those are things that are not taught in school. In school, we are never taught that things are going to go haywire and you have to have a solution or you have to know what to do. But now, we are not taught this in school. We are not taught this anyway. So we just grow up, and when we face the heat of life, that's the end of us, because we were never taught to maneuver or how to go about those situations. So let me tell you this, we have to learn how to bounce back from challenges. Of course, there are certain things that bring us down. There are certain things that when you look at, you feel like, am I going to go anywhere else? It seems like it is the end. If you ask those brothers or sisters who have seen life a bit better in terms of age, they will tell you that there are moments like those where you feel no motivation, where you feel no drive, where there is no passion, where things are just constant. How do you do that? You see people that have been bankrupt. When we talk of financial institutions, we have seen people that have gone broke. We have people that have failed totally, but they did not stop there. They came back, because what life is like, when we receive that knock, next time we try, we are not trying from nothing, we are trying from experience. That is a greater achievement. So rather than counting failures as failures, we can rather count failures as learning curves. We can rather take failures as experience, because no one is experienced as a person that has failed. Ask me and I'll tell you this. If you want the best advice, look for those people that have failed a couple of times. They have the greatest stories to tell, and they can really highlight things that you haven't imagined of. Basically, the Kura Uone Mwanangu is nothing but a concept of reality. There is some truth that we don't immediately know, or there is some truth that we don't immediately come to realize, but we just walk into blindly. So the Kura Uone concept is a concept that tries to reveal, that tries to give a picture of what truly growing up is like, of what truly becoming a man, becoming a woman is like. Because most of the times we are taught, or we are told about the end product or the end result, but no one is keen to address the journey, which growth is all about. Growth is all the journey. Growth is a journey of life. that we should walk into, not knowing, but at least having an idea of what things looks like. Because when we were a bit younger, we never thought or we never knew what was coming. Because at a point in time, I recall that I used to believe that I would rather be staying alone. I think it's for the better of it. These people trouble me a lot. But now, at this point, I also feel like, wow, I rushed too much into responsibility. I didn't know this is what growth is like. It comes along with certain responsibilities that are not written in the outlay of life. Those things, you have to discover them for yourself. And if you discover them late, it means more problems coming your way. If you discover them late, it means life will only take meaning when you discover those things. So with this, I believe that the concept for now, let's pause it here for now, but I promise that we are going to do much about the concept of Kura Uone Mwanangu, which I believe resonates to every youth of present day.